Imagine standing in line at a grocery store, tired after a long day, holding your child's hand, and suddenly noticing the cashier's hands trembling as she tries to scan your items. That moment could easily be ignored, but for one single dad, it became the start of a story he would never forget. Friends, before we dive into this emotional journey, I want to remind you, if you find meaning in stories that heal, uplift, and inspire, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel, Stories That Mend. Your support helps us keep bringing you stories that touch the heart and remind us of the strength of kindness and compassion. Now, let's begin. Daniel was a single father in his late 30s, raising his 7-year-old daughter, Emily. Life hadn't been easy since Emily's mom passed away 3 years earlier. The grief was heavy, and the responsibilities were endless: cooking, cleaning, school runs, doctor visits, bedtime stories, all of it fell on him. But if you asked Daniel, he would always say Emily was worth it all. One Thursday evening, after a long shift at his construction job, Daniel stopped at the grocery store. Emily skipped along beside him, humming a tune she'd learned at school. Daniel was exhausted, but her smile always lifted him. They piled their cart with essentials: bread, milk, fruit, and a small bar of chocolate Emily had begged for. When they reached the checkout line, Daniel noticed the young cashier. She was maybe in her early 20s, with tired eyes and a forced smile. As she began scanning their items, her hands trembled uncontrollably. The milk slipped, almost fell, and she quickly whispered, "Sorry," her face flushing red. Daniel, though worn out himself, wasn't the kind of man to overlook suffering. "Hey," he said gently, leaning closer, "are you okay? Your hands, they're shaking." The cashier froze, her scanning motion halted. For a second, Daniel worried he had embarrassed her. But then, her lips trembled, and she whispered words that made him silent. "I haven't eaten since yesterday morning." Daniel blinked. "What? Why?" Her eyes filled with tears. I work 2 jobs. I'm saving everything I can to take care of my little brother. Our parents, they left us. It's just him and me now. I pay the rent, the bills, his school lunches. There isn't always enough left for me. Today was one of those days." For a moment, Daniel felt the weight of her words settle into his chest. He saw her, not just a cashier, but a young woman fighting battles that mirrored his own. He knew what it was like to feel stretched thin, to wonder if you could keep going. Emily tugged at her father's sleeve, looking up with innocent eyes. "Daddy, can we help her?" The question pierced Daniel's heart. Without overthinking, he turned back to the cashier. "What's your name?" "Claire," she whispered. "Claire," Daniel said, nodding firmly, "ring up another cart. Fill it with whatever you need, groceries, snacks, whatever you'd want your brother to have. I'll pay for it." Her eyes widened. No, I couldn't let you do that. You've got your own family to care for." Daniel placed a hand over his daughter's head. "I know what it's like to feel alone in this world. No one should go hungry, especially not when they're working this hard. Please, let me help." Tears spilled down Claire's cheeks as she nodded. Slowly, she scanned their items and then hesitantly began adding her own. Rice, canned beans, cereal, pasta. It wasn't extravagant, it was survival. When Daniel paid the bill, Emily clapped her hands like they'd just won a prize. Claire covered her mouth, overwhelmed. "You don't know what this means to me," she said. Daniel smiled, though his voice carried the weight of truth. "I do, more than you realize." That night, Daniel couldn't stop thinking about Claire. Her courage, her quiet struggle. It reminded him of the times he had gone to bed hungry himself so Emily could eat. He realized how invisible people's battles often were, hidden behind polite smiles at a checkout counter or a cashier's "have a nice day." A week later, Daniel returned to the store. Claire was there again, this time with a little boy beside her, thin, shy, clutching her hand. She waved when she saw Daniel and Emily, and whispered, "This is my brother, Adam. He's the reason I keep going." Adam smiled timidly. Emily, never shy, immediately said, "Do you want to play with me?" and dragged him off toward the gumball machine. Daniel and Claire exchanged a look, an unspoken understanding between two people carrying burdens too heavy for their years. "Thank you again," Claire said quietly. "That food lasted us all week." Adam had full lunches for the first time in months. Daniel nodded. "We're stronger together than alone. Don't ever forget that." The weeks turned into months, and what began as a single act of kindness became something more. Daniel and Claire built a friendship, one rooted in shared struggles and mutual respect. Emily and Adam became inseparable, laughing and playing like siblings. Claire eventually found a better paying job after Daniel helped her update her resume. And for the first time in years, Daniel didn't feel so alone in his parenting journey. He had someone to lean on, a friend who understood the sleepless nights, the empty wallets, the quiet tears. And so, what began as a simple question, "Why are your hands shaking?" blossomed into a reminder of the power of empathy. Friends, this story teaches us something profound. We never know what someone else is going through. Behind every tired smile, every shaky hand, there might be a story of courage, sacrifice, and silent battles. And sometimes, a small act of kindness is enough to change everything. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel, Stories That Mend. Together, we can keep spreading compassion, one story at a time. Because at the end of the day, it's kindness that mends the broken pieces of this world.